You felt it, right? That rising sensation of expectancy, as if the whole world is holding its breath, waiting for the scales to tilt. And now you're more than simply a spectator. You know the truth. Someone who senses the transformation deep inside their spirit. You aren't here by chance. You were destined to see this moment unfold, to see how heavenly justice removes the shadows of falsehood. This is not simply about karma. It is about a cosmic unfolding. Every setback, each struggle, every time, you are underestimated. It was not for nothing. You've been created in the fires of resilience for this very time. And now, when the light breaks through the illusions, revealing the falsehoods and manipulation, you stand firm in your strength, unshaken and invincible. You were picked, chosen to ascend, chosen to inspire. I choose to observe while the forces of truth and balance mend what had been damaged. This is your opportunity to embrace your power, let your light shine, and remind the world. No falsehood can withstand the inexorable power of divine order. Keep your head up and your spirit steadfast because you are a part of something far bigger than yourself. This is your time to ascend. Let's go. The hidden network of power has strained, collapsing under the strain of its own abuse. Those who strove to bend invisible currents and distort the natural balance of energy are now constrained by the limits they imposed on others. This exploitation of deep powers and breach of universal trust has far-reaching implications. You are here not by chance, but as a witness to the unfolding of a global reckoning. Justice necessitates both the catalyst for its movement and those who carry its teachings forward, bearing their weight as a monument to the undeniable truth. No deception, treachery, or abuse escapes the scale's constant alignment. This moment, harsh and inescapable, unfolds clearly. Each action, distortion, and plot left its imprint, leaving a trail that could not be hidden. Those who assume their authority is unrestrained and their techniques will stay concealed are now suffering the consequences of their hubris. Their calculations failed to account for the continuous restoration of equilibrium, in which lies crumble beneath the weight of unyielding facts. The energy they attempted to manipulate for gain has returned with precision, solid and unmistakable as stone, pushing responsibility to emerge. Justice, while unhurried, advances with a force that cannot be avoided. This confluence of consequences is more than just a punishment. It is a powerful statement to all those in positions of power. The balance of integrity cannot be altered or avoided. This moment's unfolding is a well-staged revelation rather than a haphazard spectacle. To witness is not to remain on the sidelines. It is to be trusted with the weight of knowledge. What you witness is more than just a fall from power. It's a deep lesson etched into the very fabric of responsibility. There are no whispered machinations, invisible manipulations, or disguised efforts to influence the intangible and circumvent the unchanging rules that govern reality. When arrogance collides with incontrovertible reality, there is no escape. With this clarity, it becomes clear that justice, although cautious and unhurried, is unrelenting. This is the confluence of two immovable forces, the rebalancing of spiritual harmony and the unstoppable march of human responsibility. Those who felt they could manipulate both dimensions, distorting the unseen while bending the apparent, are now confronted with the unavoidable consequences of their actions. Each action is methodically chronicled by powers beyond awareness, creating a pattern too complicated to unravel the web of their decisions. Every deception and cruelty is firmly ingrained in the hidden architecture of reality. Karma is unwavering in its accuracy, ensuring that nothing is overlooked. However, this judgment does not stand alone. The ancient mechanisms of human justice intended to hold people responsible for the damage they commit. This equilibrium of spiritual and worldly balance is motivated not by vengeance, but by accuracy. Each effort to conceal the truth becomes a binding force, an inexorable energy in its return. As invisible currents shift the balances, human law progresses via evidence, witness, and unmistakable clarity. These two forces, like mirrors, use exacting power to demolish the illusion of untouchability. You are more than just a spectator as you see this transformation. You are a part of the reveal. Justice requires eyewitnesses, those who pass on its teachings and timeless truths. This is not an isolated incident, but rather one that has far-reaching consequences, changing conceptions of authority in both physical and spiritual worlds. Let it serve as a statement. Every abuse of power will result in the unavoidable rectification of the truth. The breakdown you see was neither chance nor accident. It was the result of a complex design that brought deeply buried facts into the light. Hidden intentions were revealed, and patience unfurled with eternal resolution. What kept you safe throughout this storm was not passive or accidental. It was an eternal shield, invisible but unshakable, directing every strand of insight to its proper place. They expected that their actions would fade into quiet, protected by layers of subterfuge. However, time itself became the instrument of their demise. Every mistake, every act of violence became a stone in the construction of their own downfall. The forces that maintain equilibrium do not hurry. They don't falter. Instead, they wait until the gravity of the situation becomes evident. It was never a question of if, it was only a question of when. And now, as the illusion crumbles, you stand in the light of the inevitable, witnessing the fulfillment of an unbreakable command. There is nothing concealed that will not be revealed. There is no secret that will remain hidden. Luke 8:17. Consider how a potter's wheel spins consistently under competent hands. Every squeeze and action transforms the clay into something durable. However, when the hands fail and the intentions behind them are wrong, the vessel falls due to its inherent imbalance. Here's how justice works. It is the holy wheel that never stops spinning, sculpting, and reshaping until the truth emerges. Those who believed they could shape reality to satisfy their own selfish interests overlooked one important fact. The potter's wheel will not accept uneven hands. For far too long, they imagined they could avoid responsibility. But nothing in creation is genuinely unseen. Every selfish deed, covert conspiracy, and manipulation was documented not in print, but in the invisible fabric of reality itself. The energies they toyed with are living, discerning powers that never forget, forces that need equilibrium. What they believed was control was only an illusion, a mask that has been pulled away. Your courage and resilience have never been in vain. Every minute of waiting, every challenge, seemed as if nothing changed. It was all part of a wider plan. Justice is not hasty. It is exact. And here you stand at the crossroads of that accuracy, when truth starts to soar and deception falls under its own weight. Misusing power is perilous, much like sowing seeds in bare soil and expecting to get a crop. Those who perverted invisible forces for their personal advantage have planted chaos in their fields, which now produce only disaster. The forces they attempted to harness were not passive nor forgiving. They're deliberate, reactive, and unrelenting. Each damaging deed, each deceptive decision was like a stone tossed into water, generating ripples that now flood back in waves. They clung to an image of control, not power. It was a gradual unraveling. The clock is ticking down to this moment. Their reckoning does not happen softly. It comes like a storm, upending everything, overturning their most guarded falsehoods and tearing down their carefully constructed facade. And as their world falls, the justice they believed they could avoid becomes obvious. You are more than just a witness. You're an important part of this story. Your tenacity in the face of their plans has become a shining example of what it means to persevere with integrity. Your courage and confidence in the invisible reality have propelled you to this point. And now you're linked with the forces that restore equilibrium. Allow this time to confirm what you already know in your core. No deception, injustice, or secret goal can withstand the hand of divine justice. The moment has arrived, and those who sow deceit are now reaping the rewards. Stand steadfast on this fact. You never wait in vain. Justice has arrived, and it will not falter. This is evidence that light always shines through, No matter how dark the shadows are today, justice always triumphs. Let this moment remind you that nothing, absolutely nothing, can defy the everlasting order of truth. What they hope to use for dominance has turned against them, with consequences that reach across all levels of reality. The forces they misinterpreted are now tearing down their facade, stripping back layers of deceit and revealing their plans as their illusions disintegrate. Earthly systems come into play, producing actual repercussions that cannot be ignored. Evidence emerges as obvious and unmistakable, borne by witnesses and brought to light with unwavering accuracy. This clash of spiritual connectedness and financial fairness conveys a strong message. Power is not a weapon for exploitation. It is a power that requires honesty. Their demise is not coincidental. It is the unavoidable cost of exerting influence. They could never be in power without intelligence and provocative energy. This equilibrium you see is not a chance. It exemplifies the unchanging alignment of cause and consequence. Your protection was never passive. It was a shield made from the truth, not merely averting damage, but also shedding light on hidden motives. Those who attempted to undermine you misjudged the power of clarity that watches without fail, documenting every misdeed and deception in their attempts to destroy you. Your determination became the mechanism of their exposure, as the repercussions of their acts were magnified. They were unprepared for the precision with which their own objectives would come back to haunt them. Their search of control over emotions that demand autonomy was not only foolish, it demonstrated that nothing is beyond the grasp of ultimate harmony. It was a violation of the natural order. Attempts to use deception to manipulate love and impose their goals were arrogant behaviors. Love as a force thrives in openness and choice. It resists being confined or unnaturally shaped by seeking to bend compassion to match their plan. They delved into areas they could not comprehend or master, resulting in consequences far beyond their control. Force cannot rewrite the fabric of connection, and each effort to create a false story was met with a rapid and uncompromising reaction. What they attempted to tie unraveled with the energy they wanted to control, becoming the cause of their demise. Their ceremonies were entrenched in the desire to dominate, shattered beneath the weight of rejection, not just from their intended audience, but also from the basic forces they dared to pervert. This moment reveals an undeniable reality. Love resists all compulsion. It is essentially impenetrable to manipulation, standing as an immortal symbol of freedom and sincerity. The conclusion was not revenge, but rather equilibrium, a correction, making certain that their acts received the disapproval they dreaded the most. The cosmos, unbiased and precise, reflected their desire back to them, dispelling illusions and giving unmistakable and unequivocal results. To interfere with another person's free will is to inscribe one's wrongdoings on the ledger of existence, establishing a trail that demands responsibility. Those who believed they could hide their activities in the shadows failed to account for the ever-present forces of justice, which overlooked nothing. The consequences of their decisions went beyond the abstract, both in the unseen and the concrete worlds. They appeared in ways that could not be ignored. Each deed, whether veiled in secrecy or ceremony, left tangible proof. Their hubris in believing in their immunity proved to be their downfall, as their acts weaved a narrative that was difficult to ignore. Traces of their plots may be found in their conversations, transactions, and even the traces they left behind. Fragments that connected to produce a clear image of purpose, which they had assumed would stay concealed, emerged as an incontrovertible case, bridging the gap between the visible and the invisible. Their overconfidence proved to be their fatal mistake, as their efforts to avoid responsibility became the means of their exposure. The greater reality is now obvious. No manipulation, no matter how skillfully camouflaged, stays secret indefinitely. The forces they underestimated revealed their secrets, bringing the physical and invisible worlds into perfect harmony to guarantee they faced the repercussions of their deeds. More than just proof, the facts reflected their decisions. A clear reminder of the unstoppable justice that controls all of this reckoning, inexorable and unwavering, guarantees that their deceptions are no longer whispers in the dark, but they made a brazen proclamation of their guilt for everyone to see. You stand firm, rooted in clarity and strengthened by an invisible force, while others are consumed by the turmoil they created. Your defense is not a passive barrier, but rather an active force that remains constant and unyielding as their constructed constructions fall. They rush to mend the irreparable. Their frenzied movements merely accelerated their slide in the midst of chaos. You remain calm and immovable, an anchor amid the storm. Their efforts to recover control show the unraveling of a chaotic energy that contrasts strongly with the power that comes from aligning with higher ideals. Each deceit they created, each stupid decision, is now exposed, apparent, and unavoidable. While others tumble into desperation, you represent tranquility, unaffected by the sight of their downfall. Your security is built on trust rather than struggle. Their flailing movements are motivated by dread and hopelessness, but they are backed up by unbreakable integrity. Only deep in the pit, they wanted to avoid. Your responsibility is not to intervene in their distress, but to remain calm as forces much bigger than any human arrange the reckoning. The collapse they confront is not forced, but rather the result of a chain reaction caused by their own disrespect for the equilibrium that regulates everything. This event demonstrates the everlasting power of truth-based protection, a force that can withstand even the most tumultuous storms. Understand this. There are forces beyond our knowledge that act with precision, tolerating no abuse of authority or arrogance. Those who sought to mold the invisible to their will, hoping that their deeds would go undetected, have unleashed repercussions beyond their control. Their own arrogance has put these wheels in action, and they must now confront the unavoidable fact that honesty cannot be evaded. This isn't only the sound of their loss. It is an echo of their own decisions, returning to them with unwavering power. You stay unharmed throughout, a monument to the eternal force of truth and alignment. What a man sows, he will reap. Galatians 6-7 depicts a wheel set in motion, directed by the invisible hands of universal law. Each action, each decision, adds weight to its revolution, deciding whether it rotates harmoniously or crumbles with its own momentum. Those who interfered with holy powers, believing they could bend them to their will, did not grasp this rule. They failed to see that the forces they manipulated were living, discerning, and bound by a cosmic order that could not be bought or fooled. Every ceremony they performed, every border they passed took them farther into uncharted territory. They believed their plans were invisible. Their true motives are unknown. However, heavenly justice sees everything. These forces observed everything, even every selfish motivation and danger of manipulation. They also remembered the delicate equilibrium they had thrown off. Now he seeks repayment, and the answer is quick, accurate, and unwavering. This is not a random setback. It is a precisely planned fix. They entered locations that demand respect, introducing distortion where only truth belongs. The forces they summoned have turned against them, destroying their creations from inside their power. What was once a weapon of control has become their undoing. Each frantic effort to save their failing veneer just strengthens the grasp of consequences. They failed to understand that justice is not about retribution. It is about restoration. These energies operate not in fury, but with unyielding justice, guaranteeing that what was imbalanced is restored. Their fall was not an accident. It's the result of their own activities. A mirror reflected the pandemonium they caused. And here you are, a witness to the developing reality. Your responsibility is not to struggle, but to stay steady, knowing that justice operates in divine time, not human speed. The forces that defend you are constant and unbreakable, shielding you from the storm they caused as they fail and falter. You stay unshaken, a monument to the strength of honesty and brightness. This moment is bigger than they expected. It serves as a reminder of your mission. You're not here by chance. You are a part of a larger plan to enlighten and take truth forward. Their efforts to dull your light have failed because your inner power cannot be extinguished. Let this be your proclamation. No matter how sinister their intents, they could never eclipse the light of divine order as their delusions crumbled. Your light becomes brighter, a beacon of justice, resilience, and unwavering purpose. Justice is not done. It is prospering, and you are the live evidence. What is happening today is the unwinding of hubris, the collapse of the illusions maintained by individuals who believed they were invincible. The powers they awoke are not cruel, but steadfast, delivering justice with an unwavering hand. These acts are not spontaneous or random, but planned and unavoidable, restoring the broken equilibrium. Their desperation has become evident, spilling over in vain efforts to maintain control. Their grasp fades with each passing instant, leaving them scurrying to salvage remnants of their authority. Their formerly measured movements have degraded into chaotic motions that are disjointed and empty, losing the precision they once had. The forces they strove to command now recoil, rejecting their existence early on. What they failed to see is that their resistance exacerbates the repercussions they confront. Every hasty attempt, ill-conceived approach, and manipulative deed adds weight to the scales, hastening the outcome. They endeavored to avoid the same energy they imagined would strengthen them, but it has backfired, intensifying the chaos they attempted to inflict onto others. Their decisions have carried them beyond the point where revenge is no longer an option, but a certainty. Each frenzied effort to retake control hastens the breakdown, cementing the repercussions of their decisions. The catastrophic tempest they attempted to harness has turned inward, assuring their ultimate and irreparable demise. You see them unravel the last chapter of a narrative they created with their own hands. What people misinterpret as resilience is nothing more than the fading echo of hubris, a delusion shattering beneath the weight of truth. They thought they could avoid responsibility, but each frantic effort just emphasized the hopelessness of their resistance. The forces allied against them are neither arbitrary nor harsh. They are merely the logical outcome of decisions taken without dignity. Justice does not stumble or hesitate. It moves with the assurance of an unwavering tide. Their collapse is not a punishment given, but the unavoidable resolution of what they started, a reflection of the imbalance they created and failed to rectify. Your presence, however, exudes unquestionable power. It is not simply seen. It spreads across every place you inhabit, disturbing those who live in envy and dishonesty. Your light disturbs because it exposes. They are terrified not by your words, but by your soul, which reflects back the darkness they hide in. They strike out using dishonesty. Sabotage and whispered plans are intended to destabilize your foundation. However, their efforts are based on fear rather than power. You became a target not because you are weak, but because your strength is a mirror of their inferiority, a reminder of all their shortcomings. But what they don't realize is that you are protected by something beyond their understanding. Your strength is not frail, nor does it come from worldly force. It is reinforced by a much stronger army. Your abilities are not instruments for selfish gain, but rather manifestations of a divine intent that cannot be changed or lessened. Every assault they unleash hits a barrier they cannot see, while you stay steady and unshaken. You do not work from a place of fear or insecurity. Your success was predetermined long before their plot started. Their attempts to darken your brightness reveal the hollowness of their aspirations, and their jealousy has contributed to their own loss. What they cannot change is the truth about your mission. You climb not through revenge, but by aligning with an immovable source of power. Their activities may challenge you, but they cannot ruin what was built by divine design. The more they strive, the more their efforts dissipate into nothingness, demonstrating the futility of their battle. You were never supposed to just weather the storm. You were supposed to rise beyond it. Nothing they conjure, there's no force they try to wield can affect the irrefutable fact that you were selected not only to survive, but also to advance. And no force in existence can change that fate. The complex relationship between honesty, balance, and power has unfolded before you. Your existence here is not coincidental. It's deliberate. You were picked to see how the light of honesty dispels the darkness of deception. There is a power inside you that cannot be ignored, an essence that exposes lies and demands responsibility wherever it lives. The problems you've experienced were never random. They were subtle validation of your effect in environments where pretense flourishes. Each attempt to reduce or quiet you has simply sharpened your concentration, reinforced your resistance, and confirmed the indisputable power of your connection to greater realities. You represent the harmony of justice acting in both visible and invisible worlds. The conspiracies, envy, and efforts to break your spirit have all failed because you are planted in a mission that cannot be shaken. You are not just insulated. The hardships that are supposed to hold you back urge you forward. Each difficulty has honed you into a symbol of clarity and authority. Those who questioned you misunderstood the immutable forces that walk beside you, unwavering and ageless. Your statements now have greater weight. They carry light, helping others who have experienced similar traumas and successes. Allow your tale to serve as a light for others who are lost in silence, showing them the road ahead with your might. Allow the waves of your truth to spread, dispelling myths and inspiring bravery in others who are ready to take the next step in their lives. What you have experienced and conquered is not just a monument to your path, but also a global reminder of the strength that cannot be denied and the truth that will always prevail. Contribute your voice. Use it to convert fear into empowerment and loneliness into a communal awakening. Allow your story to motivate others to embrace their own strength and know that the light inside them is unbreakable.